no flag, World #1, Grand Slam final, and millions of viewers asking the same question at once. As Aryna Sabalenka marched into yet another Australian Open final, the scoreboard told a strange story. Her name was there, her ranking was there, her seating was there, but where you would normally see a national flag, there was nothing, just empty space. And that empty space has become one of the most talked about visuals in tennis right now. Because this isn't just about graphics on a screen. It's about politics, identity, pressure, an athlete trying to compete at the highest level while the world argues about where she belongs. Sabalenka is from Belarus. That part is simple. But the reason you don't see her country's flag next to her name at the Australian Open is tied to a decision made years ago that still echoes across every tournament she plays. After Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, international sports bodies faced enormous pressure. Tennis chose a path that was supposed to balance fairness and accountability. Players from Russia and Belarus will be allowed to compete, but only as neutral athletes. No flags, no anthems, no national representation. On paper, it sounded like a compromise. In reality, it created a strange new reality where some of the best players in the world compete without a visible country, while still carrying the weight of one everywhere they go. And Sabalenka, now the top-ranked player in the world, is the most high-profile example of that. Here's where things get even more complicated. She isn't just winning. She's dominating. She hasn't lost a match this season. 11 straight victories. Another Australian Open final. Her fourth in a row in Melbourne. That kind of consistency is rare. That kind of dominance usually turned a player into a global sports hero with a clear national identity tied to their rise. Instead, Sabalenka's success is happening in this strange gray zone. Cheered for her power, questioned for her passport, celebrated for her game, scrutinized for her birthplace. And the tension around her nationality hasn't stayed quiet. Over the past few years, she's been repeatedly asked to explain her personal position on the war and on Belarus political leadership. She has said more than once that she wants peace and that athletes do not support violence. But for some critics, especially within the Ukrainian tennis community, those statements have never felt strong enough. That's where the story shifts from policy to personal. Several Ukrainian players have made it clear that they feel uncomfortable around Russian and Belarusian athletes on tour. You see it most visibly at the net. No handshake, no smile, no shared moment for the cameras. It's a silent protest that has become part of the sport's visual language. Sabalenka has faced that reality multiple times, including after big matches on the sport's biggest stages. And to her credit, she has not lashed out publicly. She has said she respects their decision. She has tried to keep the focus on tennis. But make no mistake, that kind of atmosphere takes a mental toll. Imagine playing a semi-final at a Grand Slam, heart-pounding, pressure sky-high, and knowing that the moment the match ends, the usual gesture of sportsmanship may not come. Not because of anything you did on court, but because of something tied to your nationality and global politics far beyond your control. That's the emotional tightrope Sabalenka has been walking. But the controversy doesn't stop at handshakes. There have also been accusations about her past connections inside Belarus. Some critics have pointed to previous appearances or public associations that they believe show support for the country's leadership. Those claims have resurfaced again during this tournament, especially on social media, where nuance rarely survives and headlines spread faster than facts. It's important to be clear here. There's a big difference between confirmed actions, old public appearances, political symbolism, and direct political advocacy. Online debates often blur those lines completely. Rumors get mixed with verified information, and suddenly an athlete is being judged in a global court of opinion with no real way to respond without making things worse. Sabalenka has reached a point where she simply doesn't want to discuss politics in press conferences anymore. From her perspective, she has already said she wants peace. She has already distanced herself from war, and she wants to talk about forehands, not foreign policy. Some fans understand that. Others think silence equals avoidance, and that divide follows her into every major tournament. Now, layer that tension on top of what's happening on court, because while the world debates flags and statements, Sabalenka is building a hard-court legacy that could define this era. Power that overwhelms opponents. Improved control under pressure. A serve that holds up in the biggest moments. She isn't just surviving the noise. She's winning through it. And that's what makes this story so compelling. We are watching an athlete perform at a historic level while carrying one of the most complicated identities in modern sport. Her upcoming final against Elena Rybakina adds another fascinating layer. Rybakina represents Kazakhstan, but she was born in Russia. Different situation, different governing decisions. But it shows how global tennis has become a web of shifting national stories. This final isn't just about who hits harder. It's about two players whose careers have unfolded across borders, systems, and political narratives far bigger than the baseline. Still, when the first ball is struck, none of that will appear on the scoreboard. Just two names, two rackets, one trophy. And yet, the absence of that small flag icon next to Sabalenka's name will still be there, quietly reminding everyone that this match exists in a larger context. Here's the part people don't talk about enough. Competing as a neutral athlete doesn't erase your identity. It just removes your official symbols. The emotions, the questions, the assumptions, they all remain. In some ways, the lack of flag makes everything louder, not quieter. Every win raises the same conversation again. Every trophy photo brings the same debate back to the surface. Should athletes be held responsible for the actions of governments? Is neutrality a fair solution or just a temporary patch? And how long can this situation realistically continue? Sabalenka didn't create those questions. But as world #1, she has become one of their main faces in tennis. And through all of it, she keeps stepping on court and swinging like she has something to prove. Maybe she does. Maybe part of her drive right now comes from wanting to be seen first as a champion, not a controversy. Maybe the dominance is a form of escape. Or maybe she's simply in the best form of her life, and everything else is background noise she's learned to block out. Whatever the reason, the result is the same. She is one match away from another major title, another milestone, another chapter in a career that refuses to be defined by anything off the court. But the questions won't disappear after the final ball. If she wins, the conversation about the flag will get even louder. If she loses, some will unfairly link it to pressure or distraction. That's the unfair part being in her position. The narrative is always waiting, no matter the outcome. And that's why this moment at the Australian Open feels bigger than just another championship match. It's a snapshot of where tennis is right now, caught between sport and geopolitics, between individual dreams and global realities. Sabalenka stands right at the center of that intersection. So when you watch the final, look beyond the score. Notice the blank space next to her name. Notice how normal it has started to feel, even though it represents something deeply unusual. And ask yourself what fairness really looks like in a world where athletes don't control the decisions of nations, but still carry their labels. Because this isn't a simple story with heroes and villains. It's a complicated one about a player trying to do her job while history unfolds around her. And whether you support her, question her, or just want to watch great tennis, you can't deny that her journey to this final has been anything but ordinary. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think competing as a neutral athlete is the right solution in situations like this? Or should tennis handle nationality and politics in a completely different way? This is exactly why we watch the sport so closely here. Tennis isn't just rallies and trophies. It's personalities, pressure, and the stories behind the scorelines. If you love going deeper into the biggest moments in the game, you're in the right place with Tennis IQ, where every match has a bigger story waiting to be told.